In episode 130,
when she asked if she could show me a picture of her dressed up. And so I was like a little freaked out about that, but I was like, sure.
You're like, what are you showing me? What are you showing me? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. And it was a simple little picture of her with this short wig on and makeup and a little black skirt and blouse on. And I was like, okay. So I asked, are you attracted to men? Are you attracted to me? Do you still want to be married? You know, like I needed to understand what that meant for us. And just to build a strong relationship, everybody in that relationship has to understand that you're going to continue to grow and change over time. And you know, if you're here for it, if the person is worth it to you to kind of ride that roller coaster can go just about anywhere.
Welcome to the CrossYaas Podcast, the podcast that still says yes to everything related to crossdressing, sexuality, and gender. Giselle Mirasol is my name, and I am a crossdresser. I consider myself trans, even though some people don't. And well, I'll be your host and guide into this ridiculously insane but confusing world of crossdressing, sexuality, and gender. You can help support this podcast by going to our website, CrossYaAS Click on our Patreon links for bonus stuff. You can chat with me, Sierra, Gwen, and other wonderful CrossYaas members on our CrossYaas confidential Discord, which you can find the link on our website. And finally, if you enjoyed Gwen's story and have your own personal story that's related to cross-dressing, sexuality, and or gender, but you're freaking the hell out because, well, you're like, uh-oh, should I tell my story? I don't know. Does anyone really want to hear it? Well, you know. Come on now. You know me, and you definitely know the answer. The answer is obviously a loud frickin' yes! Hit me up, Giselle, at CrossYaASPodcast.com. DM me on Instagram at CrossYaASPodcast, or chat me up on Discord, Rochi_Mochi #7325. Looking forward to hearing from you. Now, I'm back again with a special episode here. Now, this is my first ever significant other of a crossdresser / trans person on the podcast, other than Kirsten herself. And Kirsten, if you don't know, is my wife. Actually, crazy to say that she's my wife because, well, I don't know, she's my girlfriend at first, fiance, and now she's my wife. I know we got married again earlier this month, but whatever. We're married now, and I'm super excited to share Gwen's story. Now, if you heard last week's episode with Steph, and Steph talked a lot about Gwen, well, Gwen is now the guest on this episode. Now, Gwen is a 40-year-old wife of a crossdresser / trans person who you'll hear in this episode is just super supportive, loving, caring, and I'm so freaking excited to share her story here on the podcast. There's some emotion shared here. You just know, and I just heard just the true raw emotion that this woman has for her wife. Now, I won't spoil the rest of it. I'm just excited for you to hear it. This is episode 130, and I am just so excited to share this episode with you, the CrossYaas listener. For the significant others who are listening to this episode, if you are hearing what you're hearing and you relate to a lot of what Gwen has to say as a significant other, I beg you or ask you, can you please come on the podcast too? I mean, you don't have to, but maybe share your own thoughts. Email me, Giselle, at CrossYaASPodcast.com. Hit me up on our Discord. Hit me up on Instagram at CrossYaas Podcast. Just because I think your voice isn't heard enough. And in this episode, you'll hear from Gwen, who was phenomenal. She just had so much to say, and I think significant others aren't heard from enough. And I hope with this CrossYaas convo, it makes a difference and maybe even encourages you to come out as well. But this is a fun episode. It's my CrossYaas convo with Gwen, and yeah, just enjoy. But no further ado, I'll stop talking. Here it is, my CrossYaas convo with Gwen. Thanks. Enjoy. All right. Yes. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, they, them, themselves, everyone out listening. I have a wonderful guest today. It is the wonderful Gwen. Hi, Gwen. Hi, Gwen.
Hi.
Hello. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to introduce you. But Gwen, welcome to the podcast. Would you like to start by introducing yourself to the podcast? who you are? What
Sure.
are you doing here? Did you get lost?
No,
what's your
I'm
business
not
there?
lost. I was thinking, I've anticipated so many questions, but not that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Gwen. I am married to Steph, and I'm excited to be here to share, I guess, my story.
Yes, yes. Okay, well let's talk about what your story is. What is your story? Who are you? What are you doing here? Are you lost?
Let's start right in the middle of it. I'm here. I'm here because of Steph, right? Like,
Hmm.
Steph and I have been married for almost 10 years, together for 13. And the process of Steph discovering herself has progressed over that time. And I was brought along for the ride. And so this community became really important to Steph and has really helped her, I think. And so I got to be a part of it. And I thought we were talking, and I think that our story is kind of important for some people to hear. So I'm here to share it.
Yes, yes. Do you want to start from the beginning, Gwen, or how about we go there?
The beginning of what?
Well, how did you meet? How did you find each other? Was she like in a ditch somewhere and you're like, hey, do you need a ride? Or was it like, what
So
exactly happened?
we met online, and I met Steph in guy mode, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, so we started dating online around 2008, and actually went pretty slowly in that relationship, but uh, eventually moved out of state together before we got married. Got married once we had moved to Arizona, and started our life together over the course of those years. And as that progressed, I learned more about Steph, I think, as she was discovering it herself. So I don't think I got introduced to Steph until we had been, I don't know, it was a while into our relationship, maybe 6 or 7 years before I think I fully understood that there was a Steph.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Do you remember at all what the first introduction was? I did while I was talking to her. She had a couple of things, but I don't know if you. She was like, I don't think she'll know those things. Do you have any idea
Well, I
what
mean,
they
that's the
are? Like,
thing, right? Like, I'm looking back on it, there were some hints, and I have to, give myself a little grace and not beat myself up for not understanding it sooner. But I think that, I mean, the first thing I remember is a conversation early in our relationship about how she had tried on women's undergarments with an ex-girlfriend at some point. And that
mm-hmm.
was kind of like a playful, fun thing for her. And then later there was a conversation about a friend's boyfriend, and whether that person might be a crossdresser. And I mean, I've heard her tell that story. I don't remember that part of it, but I do remember her telling me that she had done that before, that she dressed up, and that it was that she had like a bag of clothes somewhere with, a short black skirt and a wig in it, and some that she had in the past dressed up in. And then I think I knew that when I wasn't around, she would do that sometimes. Sometimes I would have to travel for work. But during that period, I never saw pictures of her dressed up. I just knew that sometimes it happened, and it was several years later when she asked if she could show me a picture of her dressed up. And so I was like a little freaked out about that, but I was like, sure.
You're like, what are you showing me? What are you showing me? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. And it was just it was a simple little picture of her with this short wig on and makeup and a little black skirt and blouse on. And I was like, okay. And so I think from then on, it became more clear to me that it was not just it was something more than I had understood before.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was still quite a while where she would do it on her own. And sometimes she would show me pictures, and then she would, there was a period of time where we were living apart for work. So we were doing the weekend commute thing. So either I would drive the 4 hours to go see her, or she would drive the 4 hours to come see me on the weekend, and we'd get 38 hours together or something. And then we'd have to go home. And after a while, she told me that she would, after I would go to work, she would get fully dressed up, get in the car, and drive the 4 hours fully dressed, and then go to her apartment in that other town. And I was like, oh, okay. Well,
You're like, what? Okay. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think so. It was that kind of progression, right? Like it was little bits and pieces of information and little steps of understanding and comprehension for me about what it was for her and what it was for me. And then eventually she asked if she could dress in front of me. And I guess I had the same response as I had every other time, where I said, well, okay. And
I love it. I love the okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to say no, but it wasn't like I was
Right,
really
right.
excited about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess that's how the entire thing has progressed over time. It's been her sharing little pieces of it with me, and me progressively understanding more and more about what it means to her and for her. And then her asking me if I would be willing to like see more of it or understand more of it.
So let me ask you this, Gwen.
Yeah.
What were your preconceived notions of cross-dressers prior to meeting Steph?
Well, I guess I thought of when I thought of cross-dressers, I thought of drag queens. I thought of gay men dressing up. I thought of sexual kinks, that it was a bedroom thing. And that was about the extent of my thought process about it.
Mm-hmm. Were those, in your mind, negative connotations to cross-dressers?
No, they weren't. It wasn't negative. It was scary for me when that came up against my husband, right? Because
right.
I didn't want to be, I mean, I guess I wouldn't have minded being married to a drag queen, but I wanted to be married to somebody who was attracted to me. So I didn't really want to be married to a gay man. And I guess I didn't have any problem with the sexual kink part if it worked, right? So yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was more of it was just discordant. It was, my understanding of cross-dressing did not align with the person I saw in front of me. So I knew I had to change that a little bit.
Right. And what, well, have you changed, or what made you decide to change, other than, like, okay, I think I need to do this now?
Well,
what did it for you?
I had to educate myself a little bit, and I had to ask questions, right? So I asked, are you attracted to men? Are you attracted to me? Do you still want to be married? I needed to understand what that meant for us. And then, she did a really good job of telling me over and over again that she was still attracted to me, that she did still want to be married, that this didn't have really anything to do with that part of our relationship. And then I had to come to terms with how I felt about it. Like, was I still attracted to my spouse? Did I still want to be married to my spouse? Was this a deal breaker for me?
Right.
And I think the fact that it was a progressive understanding of what it meant for Steph helped me in that process. If the first introduction to Steph was the version of Steph that we have now, I think that would have been a much harder adjustment for me.
Oh, how so?
Well, I mean, I've always identified as a straight woman who's attracted to men. And it is a challenge to that, to be presented with a spouse who's suddenly presenting female sometimes. And so I was scared that I wouldn't be attracted to them anymore, and that part of our relationship would be really challenged. And so for us, it started as, this is a thing I did kind of for kicks when I was younger, and maybe something that we could do still. And then progressed to, I like to dress up and become this other person. And at the time she described it to me as a hobby, right? So like, I like to dress up and I try to be this other person. I try to completely transform myself and create this illusion. And I was like, well, that's kind of fun, that can be fun, And so then it was this hobby. I like to cook. She likes to dress up and become somebody else for the afternoon. And and so when I met Steph in that way, right? Like, this is this other persona, I could kind of compartmentalize. There was my husband, and then there was Steph. And seeing Steph, either in pictures or in person, was not a challenge to my own notions of my sexuality or identity. But over time, Steph's own ideas about what this is for her have changed. And so her presentation and her decisions about like what makes her feel good to wear and present just when we're at home hanging out have shifted over time and become more feminine. I mean, she doesn't dress fully all the time, but she has what she calls Steph Light for for the evenings. And so that was introduced slowly and didn't challenge my comfort level with that, right? So it's been this progressive, slow thing for me. And because of that, I've been able to see that with each additional thing, it hasn't changed how I feel about Steph. It hasn't changed how I feel about our relationship. And so that is comforting and makes each additional step that comes after, because I'm under no illusions that this is over, right? Like that the changes have stopped and that we're done now. So whatever is to come, I have more confidence now that it'll be fine, that I'll be fine, we'll be fine. If there's something that's challenging, it's not impossible.
I love that. Yeah, you're basically growing together, right?
Yeah.
As a couple. And that's awesome because, yeah, you're right. If she was at this point and you kind of already saw her as this, you'd be like, I don't want to be with you. Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd be like, you're a really cool person, but I like dudes,
That
probably,
yeah.
No, I mean, if I'm honest with myself, that probably would have been my reaction.
Yeah. Is your attraction to Steph still there, or has it's changed, but is it different? I mean, it's different, but is it something that you don't want anymore, I guess?
No, I think that's the weirdest part for me. It hasn't changed. So I think I've come to realize that I love the person, and I get emotional. I love the person.
Aww.
And so all the rest of it is a window dressing, right? Like it's, and I love and I'm attracted to the confidence and the calm. And so if she's comfortable wearing a camisole and eyeliner at night, but we still snuggle the same way we always did, like, great. It's not, I guess it's become not about the clothes for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I think, and Maddie asked the question too. Are you concerned about maintaining that attraction to Steph as she continues to evolve herself? If it's not just the, as you say, window dressing and how she presents with clothes, but like she's going to continue evolving. And I don't know if you do have concerns about where she'll be in 5-10 years or whatnot for your relationship.
3-5 years ago, I would have said yes. I was worried, but I don't think I am anymore, and I can't really explain why. It just is not something that I'm worried about. It's something I'm prepared to confront, and deal with, but it's not something I'm worried about.
Yeah.
But I think that's true because we've put in the time, because we've kind of tested the waters slowly. And for me, for my ability to adjust, I needed that.
And I guess, I mean, it's people love listening to this podcast for finding like authenticity, right? And the honest, apparently I bring out the honesty in people.
Yeah.
bring out like the way, just to have them open up. And I think people hearing you talk about your relationship with Steph, who was formerly a crossdresser, is now on, she talked a little bit about her HRT.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice can you offer someone of another significant other who is probably going through what you did 5 years ago, right? Who is learning that their significant other is a crossdresser at first. Maybe it's maybe something bigger, but is using clothes to express themselves as the gender identity that they want to present themselves as. For you, like 5 years ago, you said you'd be totally different 5 years ago. And like, what can you offer that person who is just learning about their significant other, about their gender identity?
Well, I mean, I guess I would say ask all the questions, even the ones that you're really scared about asking because you don't know, you're not sure if you want the answer, and be prepared for kind of hard answers, but also give yourself a break, right? Like, it's scary and it's okay for it to be scary, and it's okay if it's hard. And for me, it was enough to realize that the person I loved was still there and wasn't any different, and this had always been them, and that they were just becoming their more authentic self. And I've seen the benefits of that, right? I've seen stuff get more comfortable in themselves, just being and caring less about what others think, and just being more confident in that way. And that's wonderful as somebody who loves them to see. But it's okay if it's challenging. And I guess I would just say keep asking the questions, and even if they seem silly at the time, right? Like, I didn't know that it was not something in my brain that you could be trans and not fully transition, that you could be, that you could take HRT, like microdosing, and not lose your sex organ, that,
Right.
And so that education is important. I mean, but it's also important to ask the question and not assume that your image of what's what's being told to you, or that your imagination about what's coming next is true. Just, continue the conversation. And then I guess the other thing is believe your partner. If your partner, if your partner has told you this piece of themselves, they are ready to be honest. And so if you ask a question and they, if you ask, do you still want to be married to me? Are you still attracted to me? And they say yes, believe them. And that's sometimes the hardest part.
Yeah. And did you believe Steph when she first told you? I was going to say, I was like, did you believe Steph when she said?
No,
hey,
I didn't.
I mean, why not? Why didn't you believe her?
I did. I believed that she meant it at the time, but I also knew that it was changing, and that it was. By the time I asked that question, I knew that it was something that was like changing and adjusting for her, and right. There was a period of time where I was afraid that as she continued on that path of discovery of who Steph was and what Steph was, that she would suddenly realize that she didn't actually want to be with me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that was scary. But I kept asking the questions and kept checking in, and she kept reminding me that wasn't happening. And I mean, I think there are a variety of ways of doing that. Like, I just happen to be really good at asking questions. If you're not,
me too.
If you're not, or you're not comfortable kind of pushing the envelope a little bit in those conversations, I think, you can get help with that. That's what therapy is for. But, it took, just like it took time for her to kind of find the words and the courage to bring me into this part of herself, it took time for me to fully trust and believe what she was telling me.
And what made you finally believe?
I have no idea. Time.
Okay. Because that's the question that every significant other is waiting for, right? Of a crossdresser or a trans person. They're like, how the fuck am I supposed to believe what this person is telling me if I don't want to believe it? Like, what is it? You believed it. You're helping her go to her friggin' doctor appointments to go get HRT. You're like, something about you did it. And what we all want to know, what the fuck did it take, right?
I mean, I don't know if I have the answer to that. I certainly don't have a universal answer to that. Right. I think part of it is that, it was clear to me that we were growing through this together. And so, and part of it was just how our relationship functions. And part of it was my understanding, like eventual understanding of myself, that I could do that, right? That I could move in this direction with her and still be happy in our relationship. And I know that not all partners can do that, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess I had some role models. I had a childhood friend who was in years ago, like 20 years ago, was in a same-sex relationship and then came out as trans, and their partner had to, and that childhood friend fully transitioned.
Oh, wow.
And so that partner had to do some like serious soul searching about, about adjusting their concept of themselves. And it was like a huge shift from going from like a queer couple to an outwardly straight couple, right?
Right.
And so I saw that and I observed that, and they're still together and they have a family that they built after that, and it works. And so I knew that it could happen if that's where this is, I knew that if that's where this was headed, that it's not like an impossible task to do that. And And then I also just gave myself permission to like put the brakes on. Like if something ever got to the point where it just wasn't okay with me anymore, that it would be hard and not the end of the world. But like there was a period of time there where I needed to know that I could do that.
Right.
And that was hard,
Mhm.
but I never had to do that, turns out.
Yeah. No, no. If Steph had come out to you, I mean, this is all just hindsight 2020, and we're just figuratively speaking. If she had come out to you in the first month or the first week, or you had met, she said eHarmony. You guys met on eHarmony.
Yeah.
If that was like on her profile or whatnot, this is, I don't know how, this is 12 years or something, 13, 14 years ago, that you had met, and that was something you saw, would that have been something you would have been like, oh, no, gross, ew, yuck, I don't want to, no. Is that something that's just been a deterrent that you wouldn't even want to learn about or talk about?
I guess that's an impossible question, right? Like
Right.
if Steph had put on their profile the version of cross-dressing that she was doing at the time,
Mhm.
I don't think that would have been a deterrent to me.
Okay.
If Steph put on her profile the version of Steph now, and I didn't have the benefit of these years of learning and kind
Yeah.
of growing to benefit from, I would have thought maybe that person's a great person to be a friend with, but I'm not attracted to women, right? So I don't know that I would have.
Right. Right. Right.
But it's more complicated than that now. So,
A
like,
whole lot more complicated.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I asked that because I guess that's what's happening today, right? Say a person who is a crossdresser, possibly trans person, is wanting to date people and is attracted to females or women, but like that's a lot of dating now is done online. I mean, the majority of it is dating, especially with COVID and whatnot. Nobody wants to go up and meet people, but like, what does one do? Like, you're a significant other of a crossdresser or a trans person who learn to love this person, right? Learn to love your significant other who is out and about. But like, what does one do now, right? Do I talk? Do I open that up about myself early? Do you recommend someone just kind of slowly introducing it, kind of growing with that person and figuring it out? What do you?
Well, I mean, I think the benefit now is that it's a different time, right? Like, there's so
Right.
much out there about the different presentations of gender and what it means to present in a feminine way or what it doesn't mean. And
Mm-hmm.
for people who are younger, there's even like a more ingrained understanding of sexuality and gender.
Yeah.
And it sometimes blows my mind a little bit
Me
how
too. Me too. Shoot.
like
Yeah.
how just comfortable it is for people of a certain age bracket to just understand gender and sexuality in a
Mm-hmm.
way that it takes people just 5 or 10 years older a really long time to adjust to.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, honestly, if I think sharing what you know about yourself in the moment is important. And I don't know if you need to put it on your dating profile, but I think sharing it early is important as you build a relationship and you build trust. And as and kind of setting the expectations with this, just like anything else, is that like you change over time and your concept of self changes. Mine has over the last 13 years. It hasn't changed necessarily too much with my what I wear on any given day or how I do my makeup or if I do my makeup. But it's changed over the last 13 years, and so has Steph's. And it's just that Steph's has changed in a way that is socially these days more challenging than the way my internal shifts have and so So I would say yes. If these days, put what you know about yourself out there early. And just to build a strong relationship, everybody in that relationship has to understand that you're going to continue to grow and change over time. And if you're here for it, if the person is worth it to you to kind of ride that roller coaster can go just about anywhere.
A lot of ups and downs. Pretty
sure.
A lot of ups and downs. With you and your relationship with Steph, how long have you two been married?
Almost 10 years.
Yes. And how do you two keep your relationship strong, even with the cross-dressing and trans elements?
I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but we talk a lot.
Good. Okay.
We just continue to communicate with each other and learn how to communicate better over time. We don't have children, so we have the benefit of additional time, uninterrupted time together.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if Steph talked about her previous relationship.
She might have mentioned it. Yeah. She might have mentioned a little bit.
So that was a different relationship for her. And so, I think it was important to her to find somebody that she enjoyed spending time with, and I benefit from that. So we do a lot of stuff together and have built a relationship around being present for each other and doing things together, but still giving each other time to do our own thing. And that, relationships are different for everybody, but I guess, not losing sight of each other in everything and dedicating some emotional attention to each other as well as time just to spend with each other, I think has really helped with that.
Mm-hmm. And how have you and is Steph all the time? How do you let her do that? Are you like involved in their Steph time, or what is that like? Is it separate? What is that?
So Steph dresses up like fully, does the full thing. I'd say like 1 or 2 weekends a month.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the time, she'll wear more feminine pajamas in the evening. And when she gets home from work, she'll put on, she puts on her eyes. She goes and she puts on some eyeliner. And so that started a few years ago. And so that's just a nightly thing. And more recently, she's been just going towards more gender fluid clothes. So
okay.
When she's not actually even at work, sometimes she'll wear like a more gender fluid outfit. And I think that seems to make her really happy, but it's not full Steph glam or anything. And she's growing out her hair, which is fine.
It's quite long, yes.
It is. Yeah.
Do you not like it?
Well, at first I was like, what are you doing? Because she's she's working on it, but there's a little patch in the back that's missing. And so I was like, don't do a comb over. Please don't do a comb over. But that's not what's going on. And so, what else? There's something else. So, I know. And then she started going to my brow lady.
Uh-oh.
I found this waxing salon, and Steph wanted to go. So now Steph is better friends with my wax lady than I am. And has more treatments than I do at that salon. But, like
of course,
brows and lashes. So, but all of those things, I guess all of those things are so neutral or have become so neutral that nobody notices, right? Like she goes dressed as her in boy mode, so to speak. Everybody at work sees the guy that they have always known. And she's wearing women's pants and a gender neutral top and has dyed and shaped brows and lashes. And nobody notices.
Mm-hmm.
So makes her happy.
Does that blow your mind that no one notices? You're like, what the hell? Like, do you not know that she's taking up all my brow lady time?
It doesn't, I mean, when you see it, it doesn't blow my mind at all. What blows my mind is that when I go through clothes that I haven't worn in a while and I'm ready to give away, she keeps half of them.
She mentioned that too.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's funny. Mm-hmm.
And she can fit in them, which I don't know whether to be impressed by or annoyed with.
I love it. Are there benefits to having a cross-dressing / trans significant other?
Absolutely.
Ooh, like what?
I can send her to the store to buy me clothing, and I don't have to go clothing shopping.
Ooh, okay.
She can pick a dress for me in 2 seconds flat. And it was not be a dress that I would pick for myself, but it works. It's like having your own personal Stitch Fix.
Oh, she mentioned that too. How funny. Okay.
I mean, there's just a lot of it, right? Like, so if somebody is willing to explore their own femininity, the benefit to that is that they are willing to let you. So she's exploring her own femininity and how she wants to express that. And so when I'm doing the same or being such a girl about something, it's like, that's fine. There's no, I mean, it's just never an issue, right? Like I know couples where if the female partner is particularly emotional or doing something or that the male partner thinks is over the top, it becomes an issue. And I mean, I'm not particularly emotional in that way, but there's so much room there. There's no judgment if I'm extra emotional about something. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's more, but those are the two I can think of.
How about cons, though? What's the cons of having a trans or cross-dressing significant other?
It's super annoying when they can wear the shorts you can't wear anymore.
Okay.
No. The cons. I mean, at this point, one of the cons is that, I mean, we've gotten to a point where I am very conscious of the times when I'm referring to Steph by her boy name and referring to her by her male pronouns with people who don't know about Steph.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of a trip. I mean, there's this element of like we have a secret that some people know and some people don't. And and that can be challenging. And then there's just the fears about going out, right? Like, so she would love to go out in public more. And that scares me mainly from a safety perspective. Like, okay. I don't trust other people to treat her well if she's out there by herself.
Why is that? Why do you think that?
Because there are enough stories out there of people getting, you know, of trans women getting harassed, and and honestly, I know that I know in my brain that doesn't happen as often as I'm afraid that it does, and that when Steph wants to go walk around the mall during the day dressed, it's not the most dangerous place to be, but that is something, it's still there. It's still something I worry about. So that's challenging. I'm getting better with that, but that has always been my fear about her going out. And then going out together, we've done that maybe just once.
Ooh, do tell. Just once. Oh.
I don't know. We just started doing it, and then COVID happened.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, so we went out once together in San Francisco, and
Ooh,
so her goal is always to just kind of blend in and not draw attention to herself, and see if she can, kind of pass and get away with it that way. And she totally can. But
yay.
She totally can. There are two challenges to that with our trip to San Francisco. One, I am so much shorter than her. So her height was just like highlighted how tall she was. And she kept taking selfies walking down the street.
Fucking vain bitch. Yeah, you married a vain.
Well, take a picture. It didn't happen, but I was like, this is not necessarily blending in.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
But that was
she
fun.
talked about how she's 6 foot. So
yeah.
I was like, oh, well, how tall are you then, Gwen?
On a good day, I'm 5'4".
Oh, okay. Yeah, San Francisco does add a little more height with all the hills, so you might be 5'6" in San Francisco. So let me ask, who are you out to about your relationship with Steph?
So my mom and my sister know.
Ooh, okay. What was that like? What was that like? How did they find out?
Well, Steph's preferred message or method of telling people is just to show them a picture from Instagram and see if they figure it out.
Of course. Okay.
So with my mom, it was that same trip to San Francisco, and we took a picture when we had gone out in the morning, and then we showed my mom the picture, and she did, I don't know, she said something very typical of my mom, I'm sure. She was like, ooh.
Aw, moms. Oh.
And I mean, that was pretty much the extent of her reaction. She thought it was fun. And then I think over time she's learned a little bit, but she follows Steph on social media and comments on her pictures.
Yay, Mom. Yay.
And I think with my sister, she just sent her a link to a picture. I don't think we were there in person. And I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried about either of them, but I especially wasn't worried about my sister.
Oh, yay.
Let's see who else. There are some coworkers that Steph works with who she's told.
Okay.
And then just some friends. I mean, just over time, she's come out to more and more people just progressively. Still the same method, though. She just shows them a picture, either digitally or in person, and sees if they can figure it out.
Okay. And you've been pleasantly surprised with all the reactions, or nothing was like, oh my God, they found out, and it's been all okay?
Yeah, it's all been okay. I actually care very little about people's reaction to it.
Oh, okay.
There have been some people that she's told that I'm like, really? You told that person? but not because I was worried about their reaction, just because I thought it was interesting that she told them. Because it's still not a super public thing. So the people that she tells are people that she kind of wants to bring into this world, or that she trusts to be safe and allies. And
right.
And I think it's almost like a compliment to them that she would trust them with it, right? Like it's a gift to them.
Right.
So
I guess my other question would be, because significant others who do find out always worry, or at least there's the perception that they worry how other people will perceive them. It sounds like you don't care too much, but were you ever worried that they would find out? Because like, oh my God, Steph talked about how she was blackmailed by her ex for like, you're like, what the fuck? Like, oh, I'm going to tell everybody about your cross-dressing. And she was freaked out. And it's true, because as a cross-dresser or as a trans person who doesn't want to be out, maybe more cross-dressers, especially in their, I would say, probably mid-30s and above, like, and older. Anyone who finds out, right? Before, it was a huge shame thing in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. Before all of this, like we talked about, like, and it's all like how you blows your mind how everyone's totally out about it. Yeah, everyone before the early 2000s freaked the fuck out if someone found out about their cross-dressing because of the shame or the fucking drama it would cause because they found out your significant other was even remotely related to the LGBTQ community. So I'm just wondering if you had that. No, it sounds like you're okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. No, I don't care about that. I mean, there are people I know who, if and when they find out, will have lots of questions. I cannot think of a single person who would just disappear off the face of the earth and be so disgusted that they wouldn't want to have anything to do with us anymore. I can't think of anybody. I guess part of that is who we surround ourselves with. But I think a big part of it is that cultural shift that you just talked about, right? Like, it's not as taboo to be queer anymore. It's not as taboo to wear more feminine clothes or more masculine clothes, depending on who you are. It's drag queens are cool, and makeup shows are awesome, and and so I think the cultural shifts over the last 20 years really have helped kind of shape that and make it easier to kind of be who you are and care less, because there's, the people who are still worried about that are stuck in like 19 something.
yeah, there's 19 in there. Yeah, we're old. Yeah. But it's interesting because you talk about safety, right? You talk about the fear in your own mind that you create. Do you still think that's true, even though that we have people are more out, people are more open? What is this fear that still that you're creating in your head, or this illusion that you create in your head if you're thinking, or this cultural shift has changed? Why do we still have that fear then?
Well, because there are still people out there who are willing to vocalize hate around it. Right. And so, like I said, I'm not worried about the people in our lives caring too much. I am worried about people I don't know who are still somehow personally offended by someone else's life choices that have nothing to do with them. Because it somehow threatens their own sense of self. I think, maybe I just have trust issues with people I don't know, but
who doesn't though, right?
But, when you have groups of people willing to vocalize hate as if it's normal, that prevents me from feeling like there's no risk in going out.
So how do you combat that? How do we change that fear, I guess, of there's people out there, or people, do we just trust more people? Do we
no, you go out in groups.
True. Yeah.
And you make choices about, make smart choices about where you go and when you go there. For me, that's the solution right now. Of course, the larger solution is educating people and normalizing it, and explaining it on a wider scale, and being patient enough for the generation that is coming up right now, where they get it better than anybody my age gets it.
And I don't mean to be rude, but how old are you, Gwen?
I am 40.
Oh, you're youngin'. You act like you're a 90-year-old woman. Relax. What is?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not that old, but I did still grow up in a very different time, especially around this topic.
True. What have you done to educate yourself? What resources are you finding? What do you recommend for other people to look up and stuff?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I think Steph probably.
I told you I'm good at this.
I think
Yes.
Steph has better like resources.
But what did you do?
What
have you
did I
found?
do? For me, it was about kind of observing Steph a little bit, and I did some like Google searches and found next to nothing helpful.
Yeah.
And you know, I've paid attention to discussions about gender and gender presentation. I have a friend who's a little bit of an expert in that as it relates to children. I don't know if she'd be happy about me calling her an expert, but she
we won't tell her.
She has some children who are gender nonconforming and has written a children's book and
that's great.
Kind of talks about it.
Nice.
And so
might be an expert. Yeah.
Yeah. Her kids think she's an expert on it. Oh. So, you know, just kind of paying attention to the people around me kind of in that world already and listening is for me the best way to kind of internalize that stuff. Yeah. But there are Instagram pages and there's more websites now than there were 5 years ago, yes. I'm sure. And this podcast has helped me kind of understand more about where Steph kind of fits into the continuum or the scatter plot, as you like to say.
Yeah, scatter plot. I love it. Yes. Someone listens. Yes.
I do listen.
We got a 15th listener. Well, it's honestly, this podcast has gotten better because of people like Steph, people like yourself, who are, not just educated, but wanting to tell their story. Like, oh my gosh, like by someone listening to your story, Gwen, holy shit, am I going to get at least 2 messages, at least 2 people just who are like, oh my God, I love Gwen. Like I have a significant other who's, trans or crossdressers or whatnot. And I'm learning so much too. Like this is how we build community, is by learning and teaching. And that's why I asked, like, where do you get your information from? And here you go. Like, wow, this is great. This is great for the community. I don't know shit, but I'm learning from other people. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's really important for me. It's been really important to kind of observe how this manifests for everyone. And what I learned just sitting back and observing a little bit was that it's so individual for everyone. And then at some point I realized that that's true. That's always been true, right? Like,
right.
So it's no different. I think I've just come to the conclusion that it's no different.
Yeah. It's no different. We're all different and we're all the same. Like we're all struggling to find meaning in life and trying to find what life means to us. And we're like, well, what do we do? And you throw in gender issues, you throw in relationship issues, you throw in all sorts of shit. And then, you find podcasts like this one, I think, that you're like, oh shit, there's people who have gender issues. Okay, wait, there's people who are struggling with the same thing my significant other is struggling with. And you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Oh, that kind of makes sense too. So I don't know. I'm just thankful you're on the podcast and thankful you're sharing your story because look, I'll be honest with you. You were one of the best wives out here. Okay, thank you. You are the unicorn, as Steph was saying, as someone who is, because like I don't know if this is like mean or anything, but you are one of the few and far between who are loving, who still stick by their significant other through thick and thin, through all the hardships that you two have gone through, all the gender issues you're dealing with, all the moving. Oh my God, your wife loves to fucking move. I mean, she's an army brat. I was telling her, I was like, yeah. She's like, I've lived here. I was like, what? Can you stay in one place? Like, geez, like, I don't know if you're glued to Arizona, but who knows? So it's amazing that you are jumping in with her. Like you said, I'm on this roller coaster. Yes, you are stuck. You're seatbelted. You are stuck. You're not getting off. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. I mean,
not me. But
I'm not.
To everyone.
It is still a choice, right? Like, I'm not glued here. I don't have to be here. I think the best part is that I want to.
Yes, and you're choosing the ride with Steph, and that's what I think is so not just honorable, but just fucking awesome. Like, because you're right, you don't have to stick with her. You could have been like, well, fuck you. I'm like with Steph. She's like, well, fuck you. I'm selling your house. And what did what did Steph say? Jen stole her house and made her live in it and then gave her some. I was like, what? Who is this horrible woman? And I was like, wait. In my head, I was like, wait. I was stuck with that kind of woman too. So we all suffer together, but also we can share like wonderful relationships. Because I won't lie and I won't give you too much credit, but I think Kirsten is just as much as a unicorn as you are, because you're both sticking by people like us. Like, and we're like, what are you doing? Why us? Like, you could have been with anyone else. You choose us. True. Exactly. But thank you. I mean, geez, this is awesome. But let me ask you this: why Steph? Why stick by her after all these years, 12, 13 years together? Why her? Why? What's wrong with you two? What? I ask that Kirsten every morning. Why me? What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't know. You guys love us still. So why Steph?
The thing that I loved about Steph when we first met was that she could just bring my stress level down immediately. I had a stressful job and I would just come over and it was just so chill and so relaxed and I could just be. And that was really important. And in the grand scheme of things, that hasn't changed for over the last 13 years. And so we get to have fun together. We still laugh together. We still learn from each other. And it's still, we still have that connection. I can still come home and just be. And if I need to be, I can rant about work or rant about something. And then it's done. And for whatever, I don't even know what it is, but whatever it is, we fit together back then really well, and we continue to just fit. And so I think that's really special, and absent something that makes us not fit anymore, I think that's something really important to hold on to.
Yeah. Fuck the gender issues. You're still loving one another. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're still here. You're still there for it. If interviewing you both, I've never felt so like, oh, these two love each other. Like I've never felt like, oh, these two, like, if not that this is a fucking marriage counseling session, but just being like, oh, these two are in love with one another. Like, this is not even a question. Like, oh yeah, you seem like one union. Is that weird? That you two seem like you seem like you're in cahoots with one another. Like, what do you do? Like, like I'm talking to the same person, because I think you two love each other.
Yeah.
That sounds weird.
I don't know, but isn't that the goal?
I hope so. Yeah, that's what I want to be at in 10 or 15 years, where you guys are. Jeez.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, Kirsten and I just got married for the third time. And thank you for that recommendation of, hey, go eat stuff, because I didn't do that and I got wasted. And I was like, but Gwen told me, and I still didn't listen, because people keep handing me drinks and I just ended up like hammered. And I was like, I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
Very bad.
I'm sorry.
You are you're awesome, by the way. I don't know if you know that, if I haven't told you enough. But you're on our Discord. What's that been like? I know you were scared to be on it. I know Steph was saying that you should be on it. What is your experience being on the Discord?
So I was afraid to join it, not because I was afraid of what I'd see there. I was basically getting the play-by-play anyway. But I didn't want my presence to somehow hamper the conversation there. I didn't want, because it was so clearly for Steph a community of people that she could relate to and talk to about whatever, and just be herself. And I thought that's important for Steph, but I know it's even more important for some other people. And I didn't want my presence to somehow make that harder for them. So I really hesitated to be on there. But I'm glad I'm there. I think it's hysterical that I am useless with the makeup tips. Everybody else has to answer those questions. I can't answer those questions. And, I think the thing that I love about it and the thing that's been really kind of validating for me is that this is just a group of people who have this thing in common, this part of themselves that there's some commonality, but they're all completely different people, and they all like the things that they like outside of that. And it's really fun and refreshing to see and observe this community talk about the silliest of things that have absolutely nothing to do with gender presentation.
Right.
And I think the other reason why I joined was because I wanted to be, Steph kept telling me that I could be a resource to people, that people would want to hear from me. And I was having a hard time really believing that. But
why though? Why you have a hard time believing? Is it? I'm sensing a common theme. What is it? Why don't you believe? Like, why do you think you couldn't be a resource, girl?
Well, I guess I knew I could be a resource. I just wasn't sure how many people would want me to be one. Well, it's not like we all have our confidence issues. But so, I'm there, and I've, I think to the extent I can be a resource, I'm happy to be one. But I also want to make sure that the conversation isn't hampered by me. So that I'm still working on that balance. But I think also I was kind of hoping that at some point more partners would get on there, and then we could have our own little community.
Yes. I'm waiting for that too. That's why I'm hoping that with this interview, more people will come out and join the Discord.
Discord.
Like, okay. Yes, Gwen. Yeah. Recommend more. Yeah. Do hype it up. Hype it up a little more, Gwen.
Well, it's hysterical. But also it's the community is just fantastic. I mean, you all go between making ridiculous jokes to, I mean, the gift game is pretty spot on, and
pretty good.
And then there's just like a spot to vent or ask for help or support, and it's immediately there. And so it's a really great, I keep saying it, it's a really great community, and I would love to see more partners on there, if for no other reason than to create our own community. I think partners, particularly partners who are scared or new to this, feel like there's no one to talk to. And I really could not find any resources when I first kind of understood that Steph was part of our relationship. And if there had been a spot where I could go and talk to other partners in a space like Discord, I think that would have been a really, really great resource at the time. So that's my dream, Giselle.
Yes, I'm gonna make your dream come true, girl. You made my dream come true. You introduced me to Steph. You got me. You know how good you are. Oh, God, if only you knew. If only you believed how good you are. It's like, what? I'm also a hype person, and I love being. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I think you've done great. Do you feel like you've even talked for an hour, or does it just feel like a regular conversation?
We're just chatting, right?
Right. You friggin' with all your freaking beverages there. You only end up with water and coffee.
Water and coffee.
Speaking of people on Discord, I heard you met Billy. What was that like? I know she's like, can you talk about me? I'm like, okay, fine, Billy. What was meeting Billy like? 'Cause that's one of our moderators. Shout out to Billy, formerly the artist formerly known as Megan.
Right.
What was that like?
Well, when Billy came, Billy was Megan when she showed up, and Billy when she left. So that was a trip.
Oh, wow. Wow.
No, it was great. I was working from home that day, and she rolled up, and came to the door and just kind of stood there. And I was like, give me a hug.
Oh.
And so, she came in and did what she needed to do while I finished up work. And then we sat around and had our own little therapy session with some beers before Steph got home from work. And then we took her out to some of our favorite places in town. It was installment 1 of the Tucson food tour. So.
Yeah, I would like to get on one of those tours, please.
Oh, come anytime.
Yes. It's hot. Steph said it's raining there, and I don't like rain. We're in California. We don't do rain. So.
Well, it stopped raining now.
Oh, well, I guess. Yeah. But that's super exciting that I'm throwing Billy in there. But yeah, she had a great time, she says. And you probably gave her an air mattress. And she's like, yeah, I was there. And then they gave me an air mattress. I was like, wait, you would have came without a bed? She's like, oh. I was like, oh, God.
She's such a planner. No, it was wonderful to have Billy here. It was really, I know it was really important to Steph because I think she told Billy at the time that it was the first time that she'd met someone else that she considers like her in person. And so it was really, I had a great time. I thought it was great. It was too fast, but it was fun.
Right. Yes. And I hear you might be coming to California in November.
Is
that still true? Ooh.
We are. We're planning Steph's second 25th birthday.
Oh yeah, yes. I love the silver anniversary.
Yeah. And so we're coming to Palm Springs in November. And anybody's welcome to come. We're gonna have a little shindig.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait.
The calendar.
I'll look that up too, because we are making time for this. Be exciting. You might meet Kirsten. Maybe Kirsten can come by.
That would be fantastic.
Be careful. She's too much sometimes. You're both trouble. I can already tell.
It'll
be us girls, but you two will be trouble.
I'm always the responsible friend.
Get out of here. No, you're not. Stop. Not with Kirsten. She's fine. You're both very responsible. I hate it. It's like, go out and have fun. Why don't you two have fun?
No, we'll do something. But I have been talking with Sierra, so I think I'm going to enlist her to help me plan some stuff.
Yes. Oh, that girl's a planner too. That girl's a heavy pourer. Don't jerk around her. She'll just. I'm like, how did we end up with 30 glasses of wine there, Sierra?
Sounds like my kind of party.
Ugh, not with her, please. She's trouble. Trouble. I can already tell it's a troublesome weekend.
We'll just make sure you eat something.
Please, can you? Well, please. I can't go walking around again. It's just people handing me drinks without food. I need food. I hear you're a good cook, though. Rick and Steph raves about your cooking. What do you cook?
I do like to cook. Yeah.
Okay.
It's my happy place. I like to. I don't know. I enjoy it in the kitchen.
Oh, you and Sierra then, best of friends. Yeah. I can't with you two. What do you like to cook? You made something amazing. That's what took Steph so long. She's like, I got to eat something because Gwen made me amazing food. What did she make today?
Today? I haven't made anything today.
She lies. See, I knew it. Liar.
Uh-oh, I get her in trouble.
Kidding. Oh, she said you made her breakfast or something. Or unless you're such a modest cook. Oh yeah, that's nothing. You're okay. What did you make?
You made breakfast this morning was just a sausage and an egg. That's not usually. I like to for breakfast. My favorite thing is making avocado toast. But
ooh, fancy.
That's what I like to make. I like to eat other stuff when we go out. But I like dinners. I like
oh, okay.
Yeah, I honestly, I'll cook just about anything. I'm totally the leftover queen. I've been known to just throw together whatever's in the fridge. But we don't really have that many meals that are repeats. We just.
Oh, okay. Not a boring gal. Okay.
No.
Do you and Steph fight over the kitchen? Do you fight over duties? Do you have traditional gender roles in the house?
No, I know it sounds like it sounds like I'm cooking, and so it's very traditional, and it is not around here. Yeah. Steph does the laundry and the dishes, and a lot of the.
It's mostly her clothes, though, right?
No,
yeah, it's mostly her clothes, anyways.
No, she just her threshold for clutter is much lower than mine. So she does a lot more of the cleaning around the house. So when I'm cooking, she comes behind me and cleans everything as I go. Sometimes I'm like, well, I was about to use that, but it's clean. So so there aren't actually very many. I mean, there's some traditional gender roles, but not on purpose. It's just because they are the things that we enjoy doing, and there's, yeah. But that's about as traditional as it gets. Is that I like to cook, so I cook, and she's kind of handy, so she does the handy stuff around the house. But that's about it.
Yeah, you sound like a regular couple. Ugh,
yeah, I mean, it's really boring around here, Giselle.
I love it. I mean, too, like, this is what I think people don't realize about marriage. It's just like, it's probably boring like 80 to 90% of the time, and you two just do your own thing, I think. I don't know. Maybe?
Yeah,
I've only been married a week, so.
We're just living life, you know. Sometimes I come home and I take my makeup off and Steph puts hers on, and that's, you know.
Yeah, those traditional things, you know, when your husband dresses because they're taking HRT, you know, those traditional things, right?
I mean, it's just, it's so funny because it's so normal now. It's not even.
Yes. That's how it should be. Yes.
That's exactly
it should be
how
normal.
It should be. Yeah.
Becomes like, oh yeah, that's my wife, formerly my husband, taking her HRT, whatever. You know, like, was it weird for you at all, like having to do all those things, going to the hospital, going to the, you know, her doctor's appointments and just asking like thing, or it's just become like, oh yeah, taking her appointment. Oh yeah, this is yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, Steph hates going to the doctor. So
okay.
it was, the weird part was that she was willing to go.
Mm-hmm.
But
she's like, fine, I guess I'll go.
Yeah,
get my medicine.
But it was, I mean, so the microdosing, the hard part for me was kind of sorting out what it would mean for me, like, and for her, right? So she sent me the information that she had from her doctor about what, you know, what the side effects are and what's reversible and what's not reversible. And so I had some concerns and did what I always do and ask questions. And then she told me that it was basically euphoric when she learned that she could do this, that she wouldn't have to fully transition. She could just do this microdosing, and that it might just help her feel more like herself. And that was this amazing rush and like joy for her. And so all of my concerns about these like small little things that could happen were kind of unimportant at that point, right? Like if it was going to be so validating for her, then, you know, then the rest of it was really not that important. So yeah, I mean, it was a thing, and I had to do my research and read the resources available, but it was, I mean, it's her body. It's her, it's her life. It's her, you know, none of the things were going to be harmful to me. None of the things that I was worried about. So, you know, it was, I guess it just continues to go back to, for me, like if it's going to make Steph feel more like Steph, and it's not, there's no negative impact on me, I just get a partner who's more themselves every day, then then that's a benefit to me.
Now, this is a weird question, but are you ever afraid that she'll one day, and this has happened to, I think Sierra might have talked about it, where you're like, you know, I need to do this fully transition, whatnot. Are you afraid that, you know, you don't want to be with her anymore? She doesn't want to be with you anymore? I guess maybe that might happen. Maybe they may not happen. Is that some kind of fear that kind of still resides in your head?
I mean, she's pretty well convinced me that she's not worried about whether she will want to be with me. Right. Like,
right.
So I think she's, over the last 6 years, convinced me of that. I think honestly, in the last month or so, since she's started the microdosing HRT, something has shifted for me where I know it's possible that she may want to transition in some fashion full time. And that's okay with me, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm also okay with it staying the way it is, or staying kind of fluid like it is. But I found some peace with the idea that it could continue and is likely to continue to change in some way or another.
Right.
And,
and I think that's why you would benefit from like the community you were talking about, right? Like having significant others of spouses who are cross-dressers or trans or, transitioned or whatnot. Because, where's your help, right? Like, where's your community? Because I don't know what that would feel like. Because, I mean, there's Kirsten who's here, but I'm not on HRT, right? I'm not on a path that may lead to, not to different changes that weren't perceived, that you were never thought when you first started, or, this constant changing. Like when people, was it Jessie G, when she said that we're transitioning every day, we're changing every day. There's something that might change about us, and it's your choice. Like you said, you can choose to be here or not. And it's again admirable that you're still here, right? That you choose to be here for your staff.
Well, awesome. I mean, so just like you all are in different places and are going different places, I think as partners, we are all in different places and going different places, and you can still have a community around that, right? Like,
right.
And there's some benefit to that, as long as the community is there to support and not compete with each other. It's, just having someone to talk to who kind of understands a little bit about where you are is beneficial and helpful.
Yeah. And I think that's what Steph found in us. And I think that's what we found in you. We were like, oh shoot, there's a wife in here.
Yeah.
Red alert. Like, whoa. And that's why probably your fear was like, you would dominate the conversation. If anything, I think you strengthened the rest of us.
Well, nobody's stopped talking yet. So
that's true. We're like, okay, yeah, you're not like a spy, right? Like you're a mole in here that's gonna like ruin us all. We're like, no. We're okay with you here. We like you here, and
thanks.
We hope you stay. We hope you stick around. I don't know. I love you. I love fucking Steph. I love everybody in here. Thank you for all you've done for, I don't know, even if you think it's not much, I think you've been a fantastic resource for all of us. And I hope people listen to this and just like are so grateful for you. Like I am. Oh, this is amazing.
Thank you. I'm not going anywhere.
Please don't. And I love that you thought you were old. I thought you were like 90. Like I legit thought you were like 65 or something. Like
no.
I was like, who does this like what? The honeymooners comment? Like, what are you talking about? What? It's like, huh? I was like, who is this lady?
Like syndicated reruns when I was growing up.
Got it. Okay. I was like, what? Anyways. What do you, but I hear you're going to go out maybe later, so I don't want to take too much of your time because Steph wants to go out. And you've only gone out once? Ugh. How dare you? Only been out once.
Together.
How are the restrictions for COVID, though? Yeah, how are the restrictions with COVID? Are they better in Arizona right now? Or it's kind of,
I mean, the area where we live is pretty respectful and nice, but there are not really any restrictions. So everybody gets to choose.
And are you okay with Steph going out like dressed a certain way, or do you kind of like are you someone who's like, babe, please don't wear that? Are you that, or is she? I mean, are you a little more?
Honestly,
I don't know, not respectful, but kind of just like, ooh, is it really, honey?
The
That one?
only time I've suggested that she change what she was wearing was she was taking pictures in this dress that was so short. And I was like, that's really short.
And what happened?
She made sure that the pictures didn't show too much, and then I don't know if she's ever worn that dress again.
Oh, well, there you go. You had some impact on her dress wearing, I guess, on her decency. Are you ever worried about her online presence? She has like 7,000 or 6,000.
I know.
Like,
sometimes
is there something? Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there are creeps out there, and
guilty. Yeah.
But
sometimes.
there are some things that bother her that she worries about, and the creeps are not one of them. She's just like, I'll just block them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Block them.
Okay.
I think you guys were talking on Discord about the pictures you get sent, and the creeps who send you stuff. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, do you get that stuff? And she's like, oh yeah, I get that stuff. And so she's like, do you want me to show you the next time I do? And I'm like, well, I don't want to see the picture, but
what is that? How do you feel as a significant other? Like, to have, I guess it's weird because here's your former husband, who's now transitioning and now getting these weird, I mean, you might get them too, I guess, if you were posting all these so-called like sexy photos. I mean, how do you feel about, here's your wife now, or significant other that's getting these weird photos?
Yeah. I mean, my social media is not public, because I don't want creeps, but I also don't really take very many pictures of myself.
Yeah, you're no Steph.
No,
yes.
I'm no Steph.
Does she have enough film on her phone to take all those photos?
How do I feel about it? So she's so nonchalant about it. She's like, well, I just block them. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, right. Okay.
And if they write inappropriate comments under the picture, she's like, well, I just delete it. I'm like, okay, sure. I think at first, because she was taking pictures around the house, and I was like, and that, I got nervous because I was like, somebody's going to figure out the geolocation of that picture, and then they know what's in our house. I was watching too many, I don't know, spy movies or something.
Too many. Yeah, you've been watching too many of that ID Me channel, like those people that get abducted or stolen. Like,
so that bothered me at first, that there were like personal pictures or like personal artifacts in the pictures.
Right.
And I think over time, I've just gotten over that, because I mean, it's not that personal.
Yeah. But you're never worried that she'll blow up, like become super famous, and you'll be that wife, like, oh God, here we got to go to this other thing.
I mean, if it means I don't have to work anymore, that'd be great.
There you go. Yeah. See, always look for your own personal best interest first. Right. Yes.
I'll manage all of her gigs, and then.
Yeah. Did you ever think you'd ever be on a podcast talking about this?
No.
I don't know if you ever. Oh, good. I'm happy to be that outlet for you.
Yeah.
Are you happy to be on this? I don't know. Like, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know if she wants to be here.
No, I'm absolutely happy to be here. In fact, I think I'm the reason why Steph was on it as soon as she was. She's not.
Oh yeah.
She was very nervous.
I don't believe that. That bitch was not stop talking. I was like, okay, here we go, Steph. Yeah.
I know.
If you told me she was shy, I would not have believed you. 100%.
Well, I did put some alcohol in her coffee.
Oh, see? That's where it was.
Yeah.
It should have been in yours. Just then. No, it's great. I mean, again, thank you for coming out. I don't want to take too much of your time because I want you to go out because Steph's dying to go out. It's a Saturday. You need to be out. She needs to go out. You need to do more public stuff with her because I know
We're working on it.
Yes, please, please. And you sound shy yourself, but I wouldn't have thought of it just because you seem so open and willing to talk. And yes, people are gonna love this conversation. I already know. Thank you. So I'll end, unfortunately. But can I have you back?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like have you back just to kind of see where you guys are at, maybe like 3 to 6 months or something. Probably in like the next week or so. You two,
Yeah. Do you want us to do
more things? But
a joint one?
yeah. Yes, please.
Sure.
A three-way. We love the three-way conversations here. I mean, I'm sure you're tired of hearing of Steph. So maybe me, you, and Megan, or Billy. Sorry, see, me and Billy, or me, you, and Sierra, or something, or and maybe a significant other, like maybe you and Kirsten.
That would be great.
Just talking about your experiences with our ridiculous selves. But thank you so much again. I'll have to say that. But and hopefully you have an answer for this because some people don't have answers for this, and I'm like, well, the podcast. How have you not heard the podcast? But in a perfect world of cross-dressing, sexuality, and gender, what does that look like to you, Gwen?
Yeah, I do have an answer.
Yeah,
I'm such a planner. So
I know. You probably already memorized it, so that's fine.
I think if my ideal world, we would get over ourselves and separate the idea of sex and gender, right? And body parts versus how you present. And so then, I mean, gender is such a social construct. I really wish that it was less of one. I'm sure that it served its purpose at some point, but in my ideal world, gender would almost be a non-event, not a thing, and people could wear whatever they want and dress however they want, and we wouldn't have to have a conversation about whether that was feminine or masculine or gendered in some way. And then our conversations about sex and whether someone feels themselves in the body they were given at birth would be completely separate from gender and sexuality. It would be like a medical conversation instead of what it is now, which seems like a big old mess.
Great answer. Thank you again, Gwen. Thank you to Steph. Thank you for being an ally. Is that a word? That's you, right? You're an ally.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. You're like, I guess. Yeah, sure. Is there any tips or last things you want to say to the other significant others of crossdressers or trans people out there that, I don't know, just some advice or anything, because you're an expert at it now, so to speak.
I mean, I think my only tip is just to maintain the honesty and to continue to ask questions and to kind of forgive yourself for whatever it is that you think you missed or the thing that you said that you wish you hadn't said. I think, we have to give ourselves and our partners a little grace and forgiveness. Because it's a complicated path to navigate. And, sometimes you end up in the same spot as your partner and sometimes you don't, but it's not a good idea to go it alone. And so I think finding resources, whether the resource is your partner or other partners who you can talk to, or a therapist, or, just don't do it alone. That's my tip. Yes.
Thank you. Gwen, I love you, right? Have I not told you
I
that
love you
enough?
too.
Oh my gosh. Aw, you, Steph. I can't wait for November. This episode should be released before then.
Okay.
I'm going to send you somewhat of an edit. I don't know how much I have to edit out. You two are amazing. did I leave anything out? Is there anything else you want to say? Anything that like comes to
We'll
mind?
just save it for next time.
Yes. Well, thank you. I will send this to your email, the same email you sent me, and I'll send Steph the one to her email. And yeah, let me know what you think. What I should edit out. And
oh, you know what? One thing. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
For
Yes,
I did create an email address in case partners wanted to reach out.
Ooh, okay. What's that email?
It is oh my goodness.
Nice.
So OHMYGUHNESS, all one word.
Nice.
At Gmail.
Yes. Yeah, and I know you don't want to post any of your photos, but if there's some like image you want me to put for like the cover photo or for the promo thing, I can do that too. And you start promoting it, and yeah, we'll find something. Gwen, I can't say it enough. You have been an amazing significant other, wife, guest, everything in between. You've been awesome. And thank you. It's so good. It's so good to hear from a significant other. People are going to love this episode, and they're going to love you as much as I love you. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. You're awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm only awesome because my guests are awesome. So it's your fault. Thank you. But yeah, come on, we'll see you on the Discord. People can chat. What's your Discord handle? I don't know if they want to.
Gwen F.
Up. And there's a number usually on the Discord.
Let me look at it. What is it? Hold on. 0333.
It's Gwen F 0333. Okay, cool. All right, Gwen, have a great day.
You too.
Leave you to your devices, but chat me up if you ever need anything, and I will chat you up too. Thanks, Gwen. Love you.
Love you too. Day. Bye.
Bye. And finally, the miscellany.
Yes!
And that was my Curi YAAS convo with Gwen. Gwen was just as much of a delight as Steph was to have on the podcast, and it was just great having a different perspective on the podcast from a significant other. She is totally in love with her wife, Steph. Steph and Gwen at first were kind of hesitant, more so Steph. And Gwen just coming on the podcast to tell her story, again, I just hope encourages other significant others to just come out and feel supported. If you feel like joining the CrossYaas Podcast Discord, for sure, just join in there. We're excited to have you. We don't want you to feel alone in all this. It's really hard to not feel like you have the support. And I'm sure if you related to anything Gwen had to say, if whoever's listening is a supporter or a significant other of a crossdresser or trans person, just know you're loved. And it was great hearing her perspective. I mean, everything about it was just so, like, I don't know, great to listen. Again, she's only the second significant other to come on the podcast to tell how she feels. Again, Kirsten was the only other one, but for Gwen to tell her story and have to deal with her own wife's, like, transition, if you will, it was just so nice to hear. And I'm grateful for everything she had to say. If you want to hear true love, you hear what Gwen had to say about her wife, Steph. They love each other. Just my interactions with them have been just delightful. They're such a great couple together. They're there to support one another, and I'm so thankful to have them here on the podcast to tell their story. So thank you so much to Gwen and Steph. If you enjoyed their story, if you're a significant other, as well, like we were talking about, come out on the podcast, tell your story, hit us up on email Giselle at CrossYaasPodcast.com. Gwen there said her email to come out. I'll post it on the thing as well, but on the website, on the Discord, but come out and help yourselves to talk to us, to reach out for help, because you're not the only ones out there who, may think they're struggling, but there are people out there to help. So thank you so much. Yeah, that's all for this week. Remember, no one cares, so do whatever you want and wear whatever you want within reason. Let me know what you need to help you succeed. I'm here. I love you all so much. Remember to tell others about this podcast, especially about Steph's story, but especially about Gwen's story, and share it with as many people to get the word out. But remember, I love you all so much, and I just want to know that you're amazing to listen to my story, to Gwen's story, to Steph's story. So thank you so much. And until next time, keep it fresh, stay blessed, and remember, you're gorgeous.